On this episode of PLT Canada's Green Jobs, we're drawing on 30 years of experience. We're hanging out with Muddy Mark, Woodlands Supervisor, to find out if everything's going according to plan. PLT Canada's Green Jobs is taking you all over Canada to explore jobs that are unique, fun, and most importantly, make a difference for our environment and in our communities. We're here in Timmins, Ontario. The population here is about 40,000 and the town is really resource-based. So about 100 years ago, there was a gold rush, and that's how I understand Timmins started. Forestry and mining are big parts of the economy here, and services are provided to a lot of the surrounding areas. A lot of people come here for their supplies. One of the major advantages of northern living is that you're surrounded by forests. So although you can get everything you need in the city of Timmins, you're not far away from really nice hiking trails and basically the great outdoors. Lucky for us, we're getting a tour of these great outdoors with an experienced guide. Muddy Mark is not only a Woodlands Supervisor, he also volunteers to lead community hikes and organizes the local Christmas bird count here in Timmins. I can't think of anyone better to show us around up here.
They call me Muddy Mark. So I wear rubber boots almost all the time. So the mud is just something I like to, play in maybe a little bit. It just became a fun term for me and my rubber boots. My formal education was at Sault College in Sault Ste. Marie. I took the 2-year forest technology program, and then I went back for a 3rd year to take the forest technologist program. As a student, I worked in Timmins district each summer, and when I graduated, I got my first full-time job as a forest technologist in Timmins district. What I really enjoy about my job is that my dog comes with me everywhere. There are very few jobs I can think of where a dog can come with you wherever you go. My dog's name is Brisbane, but he's not my dog. He's his own dog, I think. He's living the dream. He comes out every day, he gets to walk around in the bush. It's a beautiful relationship, and hey, man's best friend. My job title is Woodlands Supervisor, and the main responsibility is to make sure I work with the contractors that we are fulfilling the forest management plan. We're making sure that the roads are in the right places, the AOCs, the areas of concern, are being adhered to. And so the biggest responsibility is to just be able to stay ahead and making sure it is getting implemented correctly. So I do spend a lot of time looking at the logs, and I do spend a lot of time measuring. The mill, depending on which mill it is, it has a maximum diameter and a minimum top diameter. And the important part is every log that we pick up from the bush and gets to the mill, we need to make a product of it. So I spend a lot of time looking at the quality, working with the operators to make sure that the mill is going to get a product that they can use.
So run me through your thought process when you're doing your job here at the pile.
So this wood is all destined to the mill. And so I'm thinking mostly about what's going to keep those guys happy. And that's, those are our ultimate customer. So I'm always looking for any kind of damage, rot, undersize, oversize, all that kind of stuff. And then we do a lot of measuring of lengths to make sure our lengths stay consistent is very important.
Okay, so you want to keep them happy. Is that why there's happy faces on the piles?
When I see some really nice, clean white wood, I like to put a happy face on it. I'm kind of hoping it makes a happy face for the mill guys.
It's pretty good, but I don't know. I feel like I might be able to make one that will make them even happier. because I just happen to have my own can of
So
paint here.
you can make a better face that'll make a mill guy smile than 2 exclamation marks and a happy face. It can't be done.
Let's see. Mark was really into his whole exclamation points for eyes thing on his smiley face, but you know, I think that the simpler approach is best. I've never seen a happier face.
One eye is round and one eye is egg-shaped. So Lacey's smiley face is pretty simple with the 2 dots and a little smile. When you look at my smiley face, exclamation points, smile. Now we're talking, that's a nice treat.
So in that case, I guess we're both going to have to make the smiley face. So you can make the eyes.
I want the eyes.
Okay.
Because my eyes are sensational.
It's a draw. Muddy Mark told me that he likes to draw those smiley faces on the end of the logs in hopes of brightening someone's day when they arrive at the mill. And I know for sure that the drawings that we were doing raised some eyebrows when they got to the mill, because he sent me this picture that the scaler sent him and asked him what was going on out there. I think this tree is gonna make a house.
Ah.
As Mark and I continued to look at the log pile, we started to guess what some of these logs might end up being used for. Part of sustainable forest management means that nothing goes to waste. So just because some of the logs might not get a passing grade and go to the Timmins sawmill, it doesn't mean they'll be thrown away. They could end up at a pulp and paper mill and turned into toilet paper or paper towels or that coffee cup you order every morning on your way to work. One of the coolest things about the forest and conservation sector is that there's so many ways to use wood. You never know where you might find it.
I heard that Shania Twain used to plant trees around here.
She did. Her mom and dad were tree plant contractors. Do you want to go see a tree that Shania Twain planted?
Absolutely. Do, 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 do. Let's go, Mark.
Man, I feel like a forest guy. So this was an excellent job of creating tomorrow's forest.
So how do you know these trees were planted by Shania Twain?
Interesting enough, the Shania Twain fan club was here, and just so happens that I do have a cookie from that time, and they told us the year that she planted. And then we counted the rings backwards, and it landed perfect on the year.
The Shania Forest.
There you go, absolutely.
So the easiest way to know how old a tree is to count the rings, because every year a tree puts on a new ring of growth. And you can see at the edge that the rings are so much smaller, and that's because back here when it was growing a lot, had unlimited resources of sun, nutrients from the soil. So Mark said the reason that this tree was cut is because this plantation was being thinned out a little bit. Workers coming in and cutting some of the trees will make more resources available. So if we cut some of these down now, we might see that the growth rings increased again. And it's really cool when you look at a cookie that has that post-thinning growth, you can really see the response to having more space available. Just another part of sustainable forest management.
I think one of the important aspects of Sustainable Forestry Initiative certification is that it is a standard that puts us on a level keel with other jurisdictions. It means that every company that's operating within Canada and between the provinces, we all have to meet the same standard of sustainability, the same standard of protection of the environment. And that's very important because while we have provincial standards which keep us doing the same thing in Ontario, Sustainable Forestry Initiative sets standards that are focused across provincial boundaries right across Canada. A lot of these guys that are on these machines, of course I run into them in the community all the time. So, you know, I like to have a good rapport with them, and I like to be able to chat with them. My past life, you might say, I was actually working with a contractor. So I was on the other side of doing all this. So I absolutely can understand what's going on. These guys are doing a good job up here. It's nice to see the beautiful white pine scattered throughout the block. And that one has quite the hole in the side as habitat. Someone must be living in there. That's quite the wildlife tree. The requirement is to have at least 6 large trees left per hectare, a great seed source for later. So white pine is one of those species they're trying to, not harvest and let it come back to a little bit better volumes.
So behind me right now, we have a harvester, which not only cuts the trees, but delimbs them and cuts them into the desired length. So it's almost like they're just picking it up with their hands and laying it on the ground wherever they want. I'm really impressed with the skill.
There is such high demand for all kinds of careers in forestry, right from the person cutting down the tree to the person bringing it to the mill, to the people working in the mill, to the people supervising all that, like myself. What makes a person good at their job, no matter what you choose, you gotta have a little bit of a passion for it, you gotta enjoy it. And those that have a little bit of passion for it are gonna really succeed in that position. I certainly encourage anybody who has the interest to get involved, because I certainly enjoy what I've done. It's been a good career. If you enjoy being in the outdoors, man, it's a fun job.
So across Canada, annually, more than 600 million trees are planted. And that's because we're legally obligated to make sure that when forests are harvested, that they are successfully grown back or regenerated. And that can happen through tree planting and also natural regeneration. So there's a lot of tree species that just grow back fine on their own, but we're still required to do the monitoring and any necessary activities that might have to happen to make sure that every hectare of forest is grown back.
I think my day with Mark has shown us again that people who work in the forest and conservation sector are so invested in the environment and sustainably managing Canada's forests. Thanks for joining me and Muddy Mark, Ecom's Woodlands Supervisor. Make sure to check out other episodes of PLT Canada's Green Jobs and find out more information about where you might see yourself in Canada's forest and conservation sector.
If you would like a work experience in the forest and conservation sector, or would like to learn about our mentorship program and career resources, visit pltcanada.org. This episode was filmed on Treaty 9 territory, home to the Anishinaabe, Mushkegowuk, and Algonquin peoples, as well as the historic Abitibi Inland Métis community.